can do a 15,000x within a year and a half. We've heard of the debates for 10,000x and under. Is there a magic carpet ride price appreciation? And that would be the next step of 15K. Because I'll start it off. Bottom line, Hex did it in a year and a half, and it only started with a community of 20,000. We're starting with 100,000 a community. That's 5x the community right off top. That power of that airdrop, the world's, biggest airdrop, that power for onboarding is going to be crazy. It's just, there's going to be people spreading the word for like 3-4 months. Every day people are going to be like, hey, did you get your, airdrop? What's Pulsechain? And then, in order to go ahead and do anything, you're going to have to buy Pulsechain to do any of that stuff. So that onboarding right there is just going to be crazy. You start doing research on it, and then bam, you find out how valuable that Pulsechain is. That adoption is going to be crazy. That's why, like, I can't see nothing other than vertical insanity for like the first 6 months.
Jeez, we got to get this thing launched.
10,000x. We're blowing.
You heard him in that interview with the director too. They started kicking around like, when would it be better if we could launch this documentary and then launch Pulsex and film the launch and do this and do that. So he could have been playing games all along, or it could be real.
Documentary's just gonna be a nothing burger. It'll be all right, but like,
it's gonna get exposure. If you're going to make something like that and show the success of the last project to compel people that see this documentary, you sell it to Netflix, you sell it to wherever, and you get it close to, launch. It doesn't matter when you get it, but they were discussing specifically in a conversation is like, what about these people that see this documentary? You don't want them to see it and then like Pulsechain launched a year ago. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it'd be good. It'd be better if it didn't happen that way.
Part of the doc is going to be the launch, right? Like 6 months out after the doc, it's still going to be out. So, like, you want to see the launch in the doc, not create a doc and then launch.
Yeah, well, you could do. They were scheming on that. If you go back and watch the last stream with the director, they were scheming on like, how to do that. Like, how do you get them close? Like, not exactly like film the launch, but film the development up to and whatever, and leave it open for launch.
So I see that this Pulsechain is a fork of Ethereum. So I'm wondering what my best bet would be. Would it be to buy Hex and then go from there, or just continue from Ethereum?
All right, it's a good question. But if you're interested in getting a copy of any of your ERC20s, you will be getting a copy of those. So there's that. It is believed in the Hex community that Hex will have the most liquidity on the Pulsechain side, being that it is a Richard Hart project. There's talk about it coming to parity. We don't really necessarily know at what price, right? That's a good way to secure Hex on both chains. And then if you're interested in getting Pulse or Pulsex, it's recommended that you have some dry powder, potentially in USD. There was a narrative in the beginning, almost a year ago before Pulsex, where people were kind of stockpiling Hex to trade for Pulse and Pulsex. It's not necessarily recommended because we're not here to dump on our own bags. Though there will be, if you know what you're doing, which I won't be doing, but there will be pre-bridge, there will be a ratio kind of trade that you could do, but it's the people that have been explaining it seem to have very strong spreadsheets and understand they can do a bunch of math pretty quickly. There will be a point where there's pre-bridge, then once the bridge goes live, you can bridge over all of your ERC20s of Ethereum value and purchase and swap using Pulsex, which is the DEX. Does that answer your question?
Well, if you're new on here, real quick, I'm gonna follow up real quick, Robbie. Before, just real quick, if you're new on here, you shouldn't be swapping nothing in those 24 to 48 hours. Just saying, Hex is not a bad thing to get into. Obviously, 100% you'll get the copy over. But if you're a newbie, with those 24 to 48 hours after he announces mainnet going live, you'll be able to do that. But if you're new in here, I wouldn't do anything. Just being honest, bro.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at Pulsex in the future. Obviously, we're not sure when it's going to launch. Heard about Pulsex not too long ago. Obviously, I missed the whole sacrifice phase. So that's pretty much water on the bridge for me. But I would like, join this in the future. But I hear what you're saying. Go ahead and keep my ERC20s, swap whenever Pulsex goes live. Heard you guys talking about the first 4 months, how it could go under and then go back up forever or whatever. I do plan on hodling for the long haul.
Do you guys have any updates on what's going to happen with single-sided with PLSX?
When you single-side stake with Pulsex, there'll be votes. The DAO will vote on it, and percentages of their token supply will be put up so that you can stake and earn from the rewards from those protocols. The incentive token is only earned by providing liquidity in Pulsex.
Is that a token that would potentially be able to be voted in for us to vote? Hey, we want to earn the incentive token because that's an inflationary token for single-sided staking Pulsex. I wonder if that's a possibility.
The only way you earn incentive token is by providing liquidity.
Okay.
He's asking a very specific question. It's a good question about how do you see the fees that you're earning while providing liquidity outside of the incentive token?
Yeah, so the Pulse chain staking or delegating, that just shows up in your wallet at the end of the epoch. It's hard to spot sometimes because, most of the time it's, some fraction of a number and you just don't necessarily notice it. Pulsex, if you're doing liquidity pool, if you're providing for the liquidity pools, if you just get more tokens the same way. I know there's going to be some more websites, more platforms that are coming out, though. I'm sure there'll be some tools, shortly, if not by launch, but shortly after launch.
From what I understood from what you just said, Profex, is that there are people that are looking to build like a website that is going to be like similar to like TradingView or PooCoin or these other websites that can actually help track the price of the assets. Is that what you were saying? Because that's something that I think would definitely be helpful in the early days to sort of track the prices of all these different assets on Pulse Chain.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, they're going to have some charts in there. You're really going to be able to put in your positions, right? Of
cool.
Where you bought, where you sold stuff. I think he's going to try to actually get it hooked up directly to the blockchain, so you can just put in a wallet address. It's a question of where is he going to get the data from. The data's not free, so he's just trying to figure out, I think, some of the logistics behind that. But like I said, there's probably going to be a few different ones, and we'll just have to see which one we like the best. Just like Hex, has lots of just community-built sites. I'm sure Pulse Chain will have, a ton.
In my opinion, the goal with being a liquidity provider is that you want to choose tokens that basically move in lockstep together, more or less.
Yep.
Because that's going to help you reduce the risk of impermanent loss. And so, in my opinion, I think that, pairing up Pulsex and Pulse, I think they will move relatively together. If one of them goes up, I think both of them will likely go up. If they go down, I think they're both going to likely go down. So that way it'll help reduce that impermanent loss, more or less. And so that was the sort of what I was saying about the tips and tricks. I think that's one pair that I think should be good. Like for example, I don't know if you pair up Hex and PLS in a liquidity pool, like those might move a little bit more independently, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what are going to be the different tokens that are available for single-sided staking on Pulsex, because obviously that's going to be less risk. So it'll be great to see what kind of APYs we can generate over there with just single-sided staking.
I think the safer pool is going to be Pulse and Pulsex and Hex and eHex.
Yeah, I think Hex and eHexes will be a great pair because I think those will definitely move in lockstep together, right?
Yeah, so you wouldn't mind holding more of each because they're basically going to be the same.
And you're earning the fees. Because if you look at Cake Token, at least until they recently changed it, they were paying for the longest time like 60%
right?
APY. But they were paying you in that Cake Token, which obviously will never happen with Pulsex because it's 100% deflationary. So, I'm hoping that there will be an opportunity to earn at minimum at least 60% with whatever tokens are available. Anyway, I'll be curious to see what kind of APY that can generate with a single-sided staking, because there obviously you have no risk of impermanent loss, which is very attractive.
Great questions. Good content for the chat. Appreciate the questions, man.
Okay, thanks a lot.